You're not the biggest Scott Arniel guy. Maybe not quite in Babcock.
No, I hate his guts.
Maybe not quite in the Babcock stratosphere, but
he's Babcock for sure.
I would have to think that based on what you've talked about, maybe you can kind of expand on this a little. But is there a shelf life on a guy like Scott Arniel?
Look, Scott Arniel has been in hockey forever. He's coached forever, and he's never won anything. He's a loser. We're halfway through the year here. They're dead last. The Canucks are lapping them here. The Canucks are 3 up on them. Okay, things aren't going anywhere. Are you going to bring the guys together? Are you going to lead? Or are you going to be going into the dressing room at the intermission screaming at guys on how, well, you're costing my wife and kids money? Because that's what he used to do in Columbus.
It's an all-new edition of the Clearing the Crease podcast. How you doing, everybody? He is the Calder Trophy winner, Razor. Andrew Raycroft in the house. How you feeling, Rays?
I'm great. Happy New Year. We're cooking 2026.
We're cooking. Everybody's ready to go. And along with the Stanley Cup winner and the mayor of Inoneville, Mike Commodore. Tommy, how you feeling, buddy?
Doing good. I actually took a weekend off this past weekend. You guys would be proud of me. Yeah, I didn't do anything. I had nothing but workouts and waters, a couple Diet Cokes. So it wasn't any like dry January. I'm going to run it for a little bit here. I don't really. It's good to know that you can pump the brakes every once in a while. I kind of went on a heater there right around Christmas. And I think it was Thursday rolled around. The guys were going out again. And I'm like, you know what? I've had enough. I've just picked I didn't bet them all. But I went on a bad little 3-game stretch, and then I'm in these couple little pools. I picked 8 or 9 losing football games in a row. That's hard to do.
Oh,
hard to do. College football, those games 0 for 4. Without even the spread, I couldn't even pick the winning team. So I'm like, you know what? It's time to just relax here. So I'm getting it easy.
It's good to pump the brakes.
That's right.
I'm not going to, I don't know if I can make it all the way through. I can see a few things at the end of January where it's like, ooh, I'm going to need to socialize, but I'm a big dry January, or at least just, hit the brakes, make sure you still can.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's always a good reminder that you can still do it. I was banned from dry January because my wife, her birthday.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, no, I'm always fun for your birthday month of December, so you need to be good with me. So I got to find a February or some other time of the year to just pump the brakes.
May's a good one.
Yeah, May. June, whatever. It was try to get past summer and then just try to behave at some point. Kami, I got to say, by the way, I'm James Smolsky, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Kami, I got a message from longtime friend and colleague Adnan Verk from Prime Monday Night Hockey.
Oh, yeah.
Along with podcast with Jason DeBer. And he raved about your appearance on their podcast as well. So a shout out to other podcasts out in the universe.
Very nice of him.
You were a great guest, apparently.
Oh, well, thank Adnan. He's a good dude. He makes it real easy. They got me up early, which was good. Well, the dogs got me up anyways. I was up, but no, it was good. They do a great job.
It's so here we are. It's 2026, year 4 of the podcast, which is kind of wild. And clearly the message is getting out because I'm actually having friends who now send clips of like, man, did you ever see this before? I'm like, that's our show. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen it.
We got lots of cool stuff in the archive. Check it out.
Yes, by all means. And you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. And obviously on YouTube, we are everywhere. And, be sure to like and subscribe because it only continues to grow. And the content, as long as you're consuming it, there's an appetite for it, and we will continue to pump it on out. Lots to get to. Let's first dive into our Saturday night special, the Clearing the Crease Saturday night special. Ready to hit one. Razor, Kami, Sabalski, we each pick a winner, and you are the recipient to benefit from those 3 winning choices. Well, where do we want to go Saturday night? Kami, pick us a winner.
Okay, I'll go.
College football game, so you don't have to worry about that.
No, thank God. I'm not great at the hockey thing either, but I'm way better at that than the football. We've got the Kings got me a win on the last one, snapped my streak.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go for a little. I don't want to call it low hanging fruit, but I'm going to do the back-to-back thing. I know we lean on that. And you know what? We're winning games with it. We're just not winning it at the same time yet.
Yep.
Give me the Oilers.
Going with the Oilers. Okay. I like it. Yeah. We've had a lot of people picking Oilers games over the course of the season. Yeah. Sometimes they land, and like hockey, sometimes we miss. Razor, I tell you what, I gotta go with the Nashville Predators. They have been on a roll since the beginning of December. Like, they stunk. Steven Stamkos has been on a heater. Shout out to Commie's old teammate Stammer, who's all of a sudden
friend of the show.
As well, absolutely. Yeah. On pace now for well over 30 goals this season for a guy that had one in the first 14. I think we were all wondering what's going on. So shout out to Stammer. Give me the Predators over the Chicago Blackhawks. I know the Hawks have burned us a few times, but you know what? I like the way the Preds are playing right now. So give me Nashville on top of Commie's pick there. Razor, bring it home. Give us the trifecta.
I'm staying west, and I'm taking the Vegas Golden Knights over the St. Louis Blues, who are the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde. Vegas didn't have a great December, but they're a playoff team. I think they just kind of hit the dog days. We got St. Louis in Utah the night before. I think Vegas is licking their chops. So give me Vegas, and I feel really good about our two picks for the first time in a long time. Love all.
All right.
I like it. Here we go.
St. Louis, too. St. Louis, side note, after round 2 at the Masters for the green jacket, we got a 3-way tie. Yeah, minus 20. No, the scores aren't incredible this year. They're a little lower. They're not like nobody's running away with it, but T1 with 3 Blues on it. So they're looking real good going into the weekend.
It's funny. Like, I felt like we did an early check-in, and I think there were a lot of dash 12s between the Oilers and the Blues at the time. I think the Oilers have adjusted that, and the Flames. Now it seems
Uyghur was round 1 leader, and I was like, where'd he go? He went on a heater the last 6 games. He's like plus 7 or 8, just bogey and everything. So I shouldn't say a heater. He's ice cold. He started hitting the golf ball in the bush to finish his second round. So he's dropped out of the first page. Oh, got him. Yeah, he was double bogey and everything.
A whole lot of hallelujahs at Amen Quarter, whatever the case. But yeah, St. Louis, man, what a season. And considering how hot they were to close out last year, everything's sort of upside down right now. I do want to get some thoughts on the Olympics. It's been a few days. It's our first opportunity to talk about them. The team. Let's start with the Team Canada roster here, guys. Any real surprise? Look, I think it's hard to really nitpick the crap out of the roster when you look at. I mean, they won 4 nations. It's a great team. I don't think there's a real make or break. Is there anything that really stands out? Razor, let's start with you on this one. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, the only name for me was Sam Bennett. I thought they were going to find a way to squeeze him in the roster, but don't have me go through the lineup and say who you're going to take out. That's and which is why this is so unfair, because you can't really do the argument properly without taking someone out. But I just thought the way, even with the slow start he'd been playing better in December.
Yeah.
Florida's in the playoffs, Conn Smythe Trophy. Like, they would just get him on the roster, get him over there, and figure out what they would do with him later. But when you take Cirelli and you take Hagel, Brad Marchand had to go. There was no question about that. So you just kind of ran out of spots when it seems like they needed Bo Horvat for a little scoring and maybe a face-off guy. That probably would have been the in and out for me. The back end was pretty much chalk. I didn't think anyone was going to squeeze in. And then the goaltenders, I was with those 3 guys the whole way as well, because Binnington, just as bad as he's been this year, he had to go. He has to be there. And with his puck handling and his ability to play big games, the other 2, I know Kemper won a cup, but just not the same vibe as the big goalie Binnington. So
do you like that goaltending mix?
Only one for me.
Do you like that goaltending mix?
No, not at all. No, don't feel good about that at all. Don't feel good about Team Canada goaltending in general. I don't want to pound on the World Junior kids. They're just teenagers, but there's a development issue, no question.
Any idea what it is?
I've got a few, but I could do that maybe a little later in the show. Okay. But right now, I don't feel good about the goaltending, because I think that's a place where it can go off the rail, like 1 bad game and 2 bad games, and now who's going to play, and you get into this wheel of death. And so that makes me nervous for Team Canada's goaltending compared to the other countries.
It's wild, because that kind of felt like that was a Sweden thing 20 plus years ago prior to Henrik Lundqvist, right? It was Tommy Salo. Oh, watch out. Like, who, what? Like, look at that roster up front. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, on the back end. Commie, your thoughts on Team Canada?
Yeah, I mean, I'm along the same lines as Razor. I mean, look, you can sit and there's a lot of great players and there's going to be snubs, and you can look at it depending on how you look at the stats and how is this guy not here? I mean, really, for me, anything short of leaving McDavid and Crosby off the roster, and I'm like, you know what, I could see it. My only, like, I think if it were ever me doing it, which it's never going to be, is like, yeah, it's easy. Like, let's just take a bunch of people who talk about goals and point. Yeah, that's great. But like, there's only so many, you got one first line, second line, like you need to build a team. And so, having just the all point guys or whatever, all goal scorers isn't necessarily going to work. So I think they did a pretty good job. I mean, I don't really have any complaints. I'm with Razor, like I said, I think I said on a previous show, Jason LaBarbera opened my eyes about 4, 5, 6 years ago now about like Canadian goaltending. Like once Fleury's gone, like who else? And he kind of put me on the spot and I was like, I actually don't know. So I don't know. Razor knows way more about that, but yeah, like I said, you could so-and-so got snubbed, but I like what they did. There's definitely some loyalty involved, and I understand that too. But I think they did a good job.
Yeah, and look, Jordan Binnington shut up a lot of critics back in February of last year in that Four Nations. Like he locked it down when it mattered, but at the same time, it is crazy that you go through a generation of you think back to these iconic or just even like the Luongos, the Marty Brodeurs, like it was just Carey Price, like Price. You just had such a we do not have to worry about Canada's back end, we do not have to worry about between the pipes for Canada, and now all of a sudden every year it's kind of like, what's the weakest link? I mean, it's between the pipes. I'll tell you what, guys, like as much as people have talked about the Bennett snub, I wonder if Canada comes up short and he's not there, similar to when Sidney Crosby was a rookie and Canada was playing in the Olympics in Italy 20 years ago in Turin, Matthew Schaefer. Is that the one that you kind of look at? And I get he's a rookie, and Hockey Canada is such a hierarchy that you kind of have to pay your due. I mean, you guys would know this way better than I would, but covering the juniors, like covering international hockey, there's always this sort of pecking order that you have to earn your stripes. I wonder what we're seeing from Schaefer, and boy, his coming out party on a national stage, what he did against the Leafs a couple of nights ago as we record this. I just wonder, this kid's playing almost 25 minutes a night. I mean, he's third in the league in terms of puck possession. Like, it's ridiculous what he is doing as a kid. I wonder, never mind the Sam Bennett snub, I wonder if we might be talking about Matthew Schaefer and why is he not playing if he's not there and Canada comes up short.
Yeah, Schaefer's another one for me too. Like I haven't seen a whole lot of Islander games, but obviously I've been paying attention. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Doug Armstrong, I'm sure it was a major conversation, but you're right. I mean, maybe you worry, is it 18-year-old kid, is it too much to handle? But I mean, you're an 18-year-old kid and you're playing the NHL. And like you just said, he's playing 25 minutes. So he's off to a pretty good start.
Tommy.
Yeah. No, 100%. He's checking every box of being an amazing player, and nothing seems too big for him. So yeah, that's another one too. I should have brought that up because he's a defenseman. But yeah, it's maybe they regret it. Yeah, I mean, look, the World Junior thing just happened. Hey, I'll tell you what, if Team Canada falls up short, there's going to be some fire alarms going off in Canada, and maybe it's needed. You never know.
Well,
we shall see.
Yeah. And even on the women's side right now, I mean, the American team has absolutely destroyed the Canadian women in all these rivalry series leading up to Milan. Like, the Americans are the heavy, heavy favorite on the women's side. So, yeah, this could be we might have an inquisition on Hockey Canada here.
Oh, boy.
By the end of March or so. Flip side, the United States, their roster, again, another stacked squad. I guess there's the Jason Robertson left off the squad, and that's kind of wow. And Adam Fox, I mean, there's his head coach leaving him off, a former Norris Trophy winner. But again, would you rather Quinn Hughes to carry the puck, or would you rather Adam Fox? So anything stand out, Commie, on your side, Team USA?
Yeah, you just mentioned it there. The Robertson one a little bit. I mean, he can score, but like I said, it's the same. I was reading some stuff online and people are like, I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I get it. He is a good player. Maybe not the greatest at the other end of the ice. I would say maybe is kind of the complaint a little bit. But yeah, he's kind of the one standout where you're like, well, you're looking at this guy's numbers and he wasn't great last year, but he's playing excellent this year. So you could definitely ask some questions, but I don't know. Who do you take off?
Yeah, that's the question. Razor?
For Team USA, it was kind of the opposite of Canada, where Canada had a lot in leadership and bottom six and penalty killing and the Hagel Sorellis of the world. That they had a lot of those kind of players that they had to leave someone off that was really good. On the U.S. side, they had a bunch of scorers, whether it was Robertson or Caulfield, Tage Thompson. They all kind of had the same kind of players. And then on the back end, the same thing, Fox, Quinn Hughes. Like you can only have so many of those guys. You run out of room for them. And unfortunately for Robertson, Commie, you just kind of nailed it. He has a lot of power play goals, a lot of power play points. I know he's got more than everybody else, but is he going to be on the power play for Team USA? Do they need another specialist, or do they need more guys like Brock Nelson to play a 200-foot game and close and check? So it seemed like the two opposites of what both teams needed or had too much of, and they had to address it, and they got, the snubs came from those different parts of the lineup.
Razor, you're the keep it real police when it comes to goaltending. Mm-hmm. Who do you start for Team USA? That is not a position you really have to worry about. But who would you trust?
No, Americans are good.
They're good, but you can see controversy there more so as well, right? Hellebuck, I think you have to start Hellebuck. I think it's kind of like 2002 where Cooge was playing the best, and you start him and you put Marty Brodeur on the bench, but I think you could easily see a switch the way Hellebuck's playing, the way the Jets are playing. They're not the President's Trophy. They're they're in the doghouse. They're the dogs of the NHL right now. And if Hellebuck struggles early in the tournament, I can see them making a switch. So their goaltending is much better, much deeper, because they can go to the next guy and feel really comfortable. Probably Swayman, guys, because of what he did in the World Championships and winning last season.
Yeah,
I think he's next up, but certainly it'll be interesting. The goalie there is going to be interesting because they have so many guys that they might switch quickly as well. So curious.
Yeah, it's a nice problem to have from a Team USA standpoint.
Good problem
compared to what we're looking at on the north side of the border. Okay, a few other stories going around. Big moment recently for Auston Matthews. I don't know if we can call him a friend of the show, but
Matthews, probably not.
Matt Sundin, career goal 421 over the last few days, passing Matt Sundin as the Leafs' all-time goal scorer. That's a title that Matt's had for almost 20 years. I guess the conversation has all of a sudden popped up in the last few days, and where this sort of generation of we need our instant reaction and instant hot take. Is Auston Matthews the greatest Leaf ever? Let's go to the former Leaf first on this one.
Oh, yeah. No, that's an easy short answer for me. No, because but it is crazy, isn't it, that it's been 20 years since Matt's played for
the Leafs. I was like, what?
Holy smokes. That makes my stomach turn a little bit. He's not, because of playoffs. It's that easy. Toronto is even though they've not won a cup since 67, we know it. Matt's we'll start with Matt's, but go to Dougie and Wendell. Like, I don't think it's a place either where it's funny. It's amazing, actually, how the stats in Toronto don't really matter, right? Like, all of the guys that we talk about so often aren't. Daryl Sittler isn't the leading guy. Like, all Johnny Bauer and the real legends of the Leafs aren't the guys that have the most points or the most goals. It's the guys who have the most playoff success, even in the 90s and in the 2000s. So for me, Auston has to at least get to a conference final and at least have 15 goals in a playoff run or something like that. It's just it's a different time, and I don't think anybody would have Auston over Matts as a full-on Toronto Maple Leaf great at this point, let alone some of the other guys we talk about.
Matts wasn't immune to criticism either, right? Like, he certainly took I think when you're in such a fishbowl like Toronto, but that was my first thought too, that you got to win. And look, I get when you're talking about a franchise, it's been almost 60 years since you've won, okay, well, nobody's won, but at the same time, you got to get a few rounds in, right? You got to at least, and Matt's there. I don't know, like there was a way he kind of handled himself both on and off the ice, and if you want to look elsewhere, like look at Wendell Clark. I mean, Tommy, you grew up in the prairies, I'm sure. Like,
that guy was amazing,
and played hard, but didn't necessarily always have the numbers. But like when you talk about somebody who embodies a team spirit, my God, Wendell Clark, or Doug Gilmour wasn't there long enough, and then you can go back further to to the Sittlers and the Dave Keons and the Turk Brodas and so on and so forth. But I can't go there with Auston Matthews, Tommy.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I mean, I think if he keeps scoring like he is, you have to bring him in the conversation. Yes. I think, like you guys just said, playoff success is huge. I mean, when you bring up names like Wendell Clark, look, Auston Matthews, at least in my eyes, and I think a lot, hey, look, you're not going to, nobody's Wendell Clark. No. I don't think another Wendell Clark is coming, unfortunately. But I will say, you know what? I am not the expert on Leafs history or Leafs stats. It was never my team. I'm from out west. But I will say, when that popped up, it caught me off guard a little bit.
Agreed. Yeah.
Like when he said Auston Matthews is the leading scorer for the Leafs in history, I looked again on my phone. I'm like, what? Really?
It's crazy.
Ooh. Yeah, I was like, what's the number and who? I knew I figured it was Sundin, but and then I was thinking, I'm like, man, he did that awfully fast. And then I started looking into it. And, Matthew, Seaball, you're calling him Mr. October every year. We kind of dump on him a little bit. But that guy has scored a lot of goals in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So, I think if he keeps going like he is, and, actually, to kind of, which I didn't think about it this way, and I don't see a ton of Leafs games, and I don't think he was BSing me. Before the season started, I played golf with Lane Lambert, who's now the head coach in Seattle, but he was with the Leafs last year. And so the Leafs came, I was riding in the cart with him, and we ended up talking about Auston Matthews, and he got actually pretty agitated. I'm like, because I'm like, what's he like? And Lane said, and I don't think he was BSing me. He said, you know what? The amount of criticism that guy takes, like he cares for one, but he goes, he is way better defensively and playing on the other side of the puck than anybody gives him credit for. It's never noticed. It's just the goals, and it pisses me off. He said something along those lines, which kind of caught me off guard. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He goes, I think he thinks he's a hell of a two-way player. So, you know what,
Kami? I heard that. You know what? An NHL executive remarked that to me a couple of years ago, just in an anecdotal conversation where he had, this is going back probably 3 years ago now, but he had Matthews right behind McDavid at the time, just saying, like, I don't think people recognize just how good his two-way game is. I think people on the day-to-day, and I think sometimes when you're in a market, and Razor, you can speak to this, when you're in a market as hyper-analyzed as Toronto, we tend to focus on the warts than we tend, on what he's done. But man, like 421 goals, absolutely a tip of the cap to just the two-time EA Sports cover guy. Shameless plug.
There we go.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Get the EA in there. Plug it up. Just another put a ball on it. I think the reason why the number, like people in Toronto don't stay long. Like everybody's been traded or moved. Wendell got moved. Dougie moved. Yeah. Mats came early or came later in his career. Like everybody gets dealt out of Toronto for those reasons we all just talked about, and that's why the numbers don't get as high as they do.
No,
fair enough.
No, I think you're spot on. I mean, when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, like a lot of those guys, I mean, outside of Mats, like a lot of guys aren't there that long, right? No, like I think like Gilmour was there for what?
Again, Mats wasn't a Leaf to start. Like he's a first overall pick that got traded for Wendell. Like he didn't. Again, he was, to your point, he was criticized the whole time because he got traded for Wendell and he wasn't from Toronto. It was the whole thing. For sure.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Flip side, another Canadian team story that's been going on. The Winnipeg Jets, as we record this, they've lost 9 in a row, and they are in the basement. There's that, like, to go from first to worse in like less than a year. This was the President's Trophy winning team. They've won, I think, 3 games in the last 21 outings going back, like November. I guess you wonder, like, at what point. We haven't seen a coach fired yet, but Kami, let me put this on you, because you have, for friends of the show or fans of the show who've listened, You're not the biggest Scott Arniel guy. Maybe not quite in Babcock.
No, I hate his guts.
Maybe not quite in the Babcock stratosphere, but
he's Babcock for sure.
I would have to think that based on what you've talked about, maybe you can kind of expand on this a little. But is there a shelf life on a guy like Scott Arniel?
Well, look, Scott Arniel has been in hockey forever. He's coached forever, and he's never won anything. He's a loser, in my opinion. First and foremost, to get that out of the way. I will say when he got hired at the head job there last year, maybe I jumped the gun a little bit and got a little aggressive on Twitter. And what do the Winnipeg Jets do? Well, they go have a season. They win the President's Trophy last year. St. Louis let them squeak through to the second round, which really, really ruined a couple nights of mine. But by all accounts, they had a great year. Now, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, last year, President's Trophy. Coming into this year, high expectations. Some roster changes, but nothing, Ehlers is in Carolina. Anything else like real major? I don't think so.
They brought in Jonathan Taves.
Brought in Jonathan Taves. Okay,
hey, look, that guy's the problem, right? Like, that's your boy.
No, he's my boy. He's a North Dakota guy. He's going to the Hall of Fame. Now, are you asking a lot of Jonathan Taves if you were expecting to be a second-line center? Who am I to say what Jonathan Taves can and can't do? But if you don't play hockey for 3 years in your late 30s, and to jump at that just seems to me like you're asking a lot. But Jonathan Taves, is working his ass off and find a role for him. That's fine. Last year, everything went right. I'm sure Scott Arniel was having a great time, and he was pleasant to be around. And, well, what a good guy. He's a great coach. Every time they shoot the puck, it goes in the net. Well, this year's a different story. It's basically the same roster, and they're literally 3 points. We're halfway through the year here. They're dead last. The Canucks are lapping them here. The Canucks are 3 up on them. Now, from what I saw, Scott Arniel, okay, things aren't going anywhere. Are you going to bring the guys together? Are you going to lead? Or are you going to be going into the dressing room at the intermission screaming at guys on how, well, you're costing my wife and kids money? Because that's what he used to do in Columbus. He used to come in there and it was, you guys are playing terrible. You're costing my wife and kids money. You're caught this and that. It was all about him. He's a scumbag. I don't think he's a leader at all. Now, he got a lot of heat. What was it, a few games ago? Look, Babs did this too. This is obviously to a lesser degree, but you got, I don't want to make a huge deal out of it, but you got to have a little, hey, it's 1,100 games for Luke Schenn. He's grinded it out forever. You're back in Toronto. You scratch him. You want to lose a locker room or continue to lose a locker room. I don't know what's going on in there, but that's a good way to do it. So, hey, look, it's not the roster. The roster was pretty good last year. Yeah, okay, maybe they had a little good fortune. Shooting percentage was high, but they shouldn't be in dead last place. They aren't that bad, just with the goaltending alone. So, yeah, I mean, like I've said on here before, I have a soft spot for Winnipeg. Hey, that's a tough city. I used to go through it all the time. It's cold there. I'd like to see, till Scott Arniel got hired, I'd like to see the Winnipeg Jets do well. But it's halfway through the year. You're starting to run out of time. You're in dead last place. It might be time to do something. So we shall see. We'll see how it goes here a little bit, but I'd be very interested. I mean, I want to text Taves, but I'm not going to because I try not to do that. But I would love to text Jonathan Taves and be like, hey, how's it going there in Winnipeg in the locker room? But I'm not going to do that. He was here for the Christmas break. He played a round of golf, I heard. I was going to worm my way in there and just kind of, I thought about it. I was invited, but then I didn't get the second invitation from Kevin Streelman. Kevin Streelman and Johnny are boys because Kevin's from Chicago and Streels has played on tour for 25 years or whatever. So he's like, oh, Johnny's coming in 23rd. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, perfect. I need to get into that tea time. But I didn't get the second invitation. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to press it. So I'm just going to leave it alone. But it might be a time for a change in Winnipeg for sure.
Yeah, it just doesn't see it. And guys recognize that when you're scratching a likable guy like Luke Schenn. I mean, guys recognize that, don't they, guys?
Yeah, they know exactly what's going on. Exactly. Yeah. Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. So there you go. Tough time with the Jets. All right, let's move on to Don't Puck It Up this week. My Don't Puck It Up, gentlemen, I'm going Don't Puck It Up Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo recently saw their 10-game win streak come to an end. But, man, everybody took notice. We all sat up and kind of became a Sabres fan for a moment again.
Yes.
And look, it's crazy the fact that they had 10 games where they picked up 20 out of a possible 20 points, and they're still on the outside looking in, but they're right on the cut line right now here, boys. So I say this, Buffalo, you're in the mix. Keep it going. End that 15-year playoff drought. Sabres, don't puck it up. You matter again. It's great to see. You deserve it, Buffalo.
I've got Team Canada, and I've got the goalie department of Team Canada. Don't puck it up. We've got a problem, folks. We just saw the World Junior Tournament go through. I'm not criticizing teenage goaltenders, folks. I'm not doing it. I'm not going at each of them. But they got out goaltended throughout the tournament, and there wasn't a real guy there, one legit guy that we expected, like we have in years past. We got the Olympic team. Everybody's question marks for Team Canada aren't up front. They're not on D. They're in goal. The goalie department, we need a goalie czar. We need somebody to take over the goalie development of Canada. And it starts at the 12-year-old level, not at the 15, 16, 17-year-old level. Too many teams taking one goalie. Too many parents saying my goalie has to play every single game on their own. We're losing goalies at a breakneck pace because they don't want to sit on the bench the entire season, or they don't want to play at the second level. We need to start implementing rules. We need to put something in place, and we need a development program right from the very bottom, because there's no hero coming in the sunset right now. There's not one guy. Team Canada isn't getting a Canadian goalie in the first round this year that's going to come up and dominate for the next 15. There's a problem within minor hockey and goaltending in Canada, and it needs to be fixed.
Well said.
Well said, Razor. I'm going to touch on both yours there. C-Ball, I'm with you with the Sabres. Please, God, Buffalo, the Sabres, let's not. You just had a nice streak. Let's not lose 10 out of the next 12. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's just, like 500 hockey at worst. Let's try and go like 6-4. I'm not asking for a ton, but let's just keep it on the track. Razor, I totally agree. I don't want to touch too much on this, but I think, people get upset with the World Juniors, and when Canada doesn't win, to me, it's a combination of two things. One, hey, I understand it's a single elimination tournament. Anything can happen. I get that. That totally happens. What can you do? Two, the rest of the world has I think we all know that. There's not too many. Yeah, you got your Denmarks of the world that are kind of floor mats a little bit, or doormats, I should say. But the rest, there's good players. But I think in general, Hockey Canada, with the goaltending and everything, is like, what's important? Like the last little while for Hockey Canada has been a catastrophe. What's important? Where is your focus? Who are you hiring? Who are making decisions? And I'll just leave it at that. For mine, don't puck it up. I'll keep it on the World Juniors. I know the World Juniors is going to be gone, or will be done by the time this comes out. But for Jake Voracek, for those who don't know, Jake and I love Jake Voracek. I was his first roommate when he was a rookie on the road. He's one of the best guys.
You're to blame. You're to blame.
He is an idiot, but he is a great guy. We've remained friends over the years. I love going at him on Twitter because he comes back and is kind of a little bit broken. His English is really good, but typing it out and all that. I mean, I can't write Czech, so I don't judge him at all. But for Jake Voracek, I hope the Czech team doesn't puck that final game up. It's been since 2001. They've been in the mix, knocking Canada out 3 years in a row. They've been in the medals the last 3 years. Hopefully it's time for another gold medal for those dirty Czechs and Jake Voracek.
Going back on something you said, Comey, I feel like you would have been a great Buffalo Sabre. Was there ever a chance of you winding up there?
Yeah, almost. Almost. So when I was my one time where I was a free agent and I was actually wanted, I ended up signing in Columbus. Mm-hmm. But there were 3 teams interested in me. So right away, I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe the numbers that were coming out. I was just as shocked as everybody else. But it was coming out hot was the Atlanta Thrashers. They offered me, they offered me the most money.
Really?
But I was like, yeah, they did. A little bit more than Columbus did. Columbus came out, obviously. I ended up going there. But the third team, there was 3 teams that I talked to in the first, 3 teams that I talked to, period. It was Atlanta. It was Columbus, and the third team was the Buffalo Sabres. And I'll be honest, I was like, man, I think I would love to play in Buffalo. I was close.
And they were good, Tommy. They were good at that.
Yeah, they were good.
Too. Yeah.
No, they were good. They never actually offered, I think kind of how it ended up getting shut down. They never actually offered a number, but like I talked to Lindy Ruff, I talked to I talked to their organization. I was like, yeah, I'm interested. And then I think they kind of hummed and hawed a little bit, maybe rightfully so. And then, Atlanta came out with knocked the doors off, and Columbus matched as best they could. And I just didn't wait around. I went to Columbus. But God, I feel like Buffalo would be an awesome place to play when the team
feel like they would have loved
really
you.
Would be.
Not feel like it would be. Oh, you just be walking down Chippewa Street, just the man, till like 5 a.m.
It's like good times. Honestly, like when the Sabres were cooking, and as a reporter based in Toronto with TSN back in the mid 2000s, oftentimes like I do a ton of day trips covering Sabres games, like if the Leafs were out of town or whatever it was. So I go down, and the crowds were hot. Good, it was a good room. It was. Like that was a hockey town. It was such a great energy. And if you stayed overnight, you know what? There was always fun to get into, which I know is always high on your list too, Kami. And
when we played there in the finals, my last thing on the Sabres, we played them in the conference finals. And I'll be the first to say, we were lucky to get past them. We had a lot of things that went right for us. There's no question, whether it was penalties, injuries. I mean, their back end, they had half their American League lineup playing in the back end. Like we got very lucky. There's no doubt about it. But like I remember, and just to compare it to like Edmonton, when I was in Edmonton, I'm from Edmonton. I love Edmonton too. But when we were in the finals at Edmonton, I'm like, I ain't leaving the hotel. Like that ain't happening. When we were in the conference finals against Buffalo, weather's nice, hotels right downtown there, and I stood out obviously because of my hair, but I'm like, I'm going to go for a walk. And there were like festivals and stuff going on, and there's people everywhere. And I'm getting like the Buffalo fans are giving it to me. There's no question, but they're giving it to me in like a good way. And I'd like give it to them back. We'd laugh and kind of go around. So I definitely, I guess at the end of the day, I wish I would have been a Sabre. I feel like that would have been fun.
Putting it out there in the universe. There you go. And as our producer Stu Stone just mentioned, people talking about nice weather in Buffalo is something we've never heard before. So,
well, it's just for a short period, but it was really nice for at least 2 days.
Oh, you're right. You get in the spring and the weather turns, and there was that core in like 2006, 2007, like back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals where they fell to you guys in Carolina and then the Senators the following year. But yeah, okay. So there you go. A story I'd never heard before, and we're all rooting quietly for Buffalo. And on that note, we'll bring this episode to an end. He's Razor. He's Kami. I'm Sabalski. We'll see you next time right here on the Clearing the Crease podcast. See ya.